Just want to give a shout out to Rener and Richard on the video that was just posted called Firefighter Quit BJJ after 4 months. I want to start out by saying I understand fully why this phenomenon is so rampant, and also say that the MMA, BJJ, self-defense / martial arts industry is not alone in this phenomenon. The fitness industry is exactly the same way. Both the fitness industry and the MMA / BJJ / self-defense martial arts industry have one serious problem, and I think it can be summed up in one word: ego. Ego means many things, but let me narrow down the definition for purposes of this video. I'll hone in on 3 aspects of ego and you tell me if this is what you also run into and what you see. The first aspect of the ego problem is the, quote, my male organ is bigger than yours syndrome. My male organ is bigger than yours syndrome, aka D**CK, okay? So basically, this syndrome, or this aspect of the ego, it's like this, I'm badass and I'm more badass than you, and I can kick your ass, and look how tough I am, look how muscular I am, look how fit I am, syndrome. There's a lot of that going on now. Now, I mean, if a person has that attitude, that's one thing. If a person also knows how to be humble and, more respectful, that's another. So the way I see it with a lot of these schools is that they got this going on, okay? The head instructor, the owners, whatever, the guys that show up, all the, quote, alpha males that show up, they got that problem going on. And when you have that problem, when you say, my organ's bigger than yours, guess what? You're going to engage in activities, language, dialogue, teaching, learning behaviors that support that. So maybe there's an insecurity issue going on there, but the bottom line is, who wants to learn? Is that a productive environment to learn in, where everybody is trying to tell you how big their what is? No, it's not. Whether it's the self-defense industry, whether it's fitness industry, whether it's working in corporate America on a team, you don't want to be dealing with that. Okay, and there's a lot of that going on, and a lot of people, maybe they don't identify because they figure, oh, it's a BJJ class, so that's what people are like. Untrue. You can be a badass, and you can actually have a male organ that's bigger than everybody else's, but you don't have to be a prick about it. You don't have to, you could be humble about it. Okay, so a part of the problem, I think, has to do with that, and it gets reflected in teaching. Also, how they want to teach, how they want to learn, how they want to express themselves. The second aspect I'll talk about for this ego that's a problem and a rampant in this industry is that maybe some of them know this about themselves, that they think they got a big organ and it's bigger than everybody else's. But here's the problem: even if they know it, they're not being humble about it because they can't help themselves. So they basically say to themselves, I know I got this problem here, and I know maybe my school is affected by it negatively, but so what? I don't want a bunch of pussies. I don't want a bunch of wimps. I don't want a bunch of non-fellow alpha males that have big organs like I do in my school. So they're basically acquiesce to that self-aggrandizement, thinking that they're so badass, and they say, oh well. And some of them really don't care. I've been to a few, and I'd say there was some humility going on there, but in the end you can tell they all wanted to. I showed up at one. I was probably late 30s, mid 30s. I showed up at a local school. This was probably like in 2000s, maybe 2000 plus. I've already been familiar, like this gentleman, like Rich was familiar with UFC. But I went to a local school, and most of my studying in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was done, through videotapes, because that's all they had at the time. But when they finally opened up a local school, I walked in, and all the guys there were younger guys, and they were all drooling because they wanted to just get their hands on me and just like take me down or whatever. You know, and I was strictly clear with the instructor that I came here for Jiu-Jitsu only. I didn't want to get involved in the mixed martial arts because I've been there, done that. Okay, I understand what it takes. You know, I'm not a pro fighter. I'm more into the self-defense aspect. I wanted to just, you know, hone up with a live partner in Jiu-Jitsu. Well, sure enough, that part was ignored as well, because that day when I showed up for my quote free lesson, you know, the first thing they had me do was grapple these, you know, 3 or 4 guys. I guess they wanted to size me up because they wanted to see who has the bigger dick. Okay, I said it, the bigger male organ. And you know, I held my own. You know, I got tapped by one guy, but this other guy pretty much stalemated. And you're talking to a guy that was probably 10 years senior to everybody else, never trained consistently in a jiu-jitsu school. A lot of it was all video and maybe random sparring sessions with friends, etc. And I held my own. Okay, so that's proof to the pudding that you can learn these techniques and these moves remotely. So I'm a big fan of the Gracie University business model. So anyway, they knew it. And then they have me start doing like MMA, like, oh, first hour was jiu-jitsu, the second hour, if that was MMA, I'm like, all right, I already, like I said, I want to get involved. Oh, come on, you know, they kind of put a little pressure on me. So I did. I mean, I like MMA. I like the idea. I mean, I like the system, the art. I've been an MMA fan well before UFC even came along. Going full contact, all out, gloves. You know, we used to just do bare knuckle. You know, we used to follow the Kyokushinkai rules because that's all we knew about, where we can just go all out and not hurt people. You know, friends. But so I just went along with it, and then I left, and I never came back in because it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. Okay, very predictable. So so that's the third element. First was that they think they got a dick that's bigger than everybody else's. Second, they know they do, and they can't help themselves and oh well, they're willing to lose students, or maybe they don't even understand why they're losing students. They think that they're supposed to walk around with that attitude. And then the last aspect, so that this video doesn't go on forever, is that they have this idea that everybody else is doing. Every other Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school out there is like that, because, you know, they're all doing that, you know, except of course Gracie University and their philosophy. But you know, that's antiquated because nobody even practices that. So they think everybody is on this. They can't help themselves, and they just continue. So the 3 things: my dick's bigger than yours. That's the first aspect of the ego. And I think that way, but I can't help myself. Oh well. And then, hey, everybody else is doing it, so why should I change? To me, that's one of the big selling points, the big value propositions of Gracie University, and this is my plug on that. Why? Because of everything that they said. I put a little link in my look in that little description there of where I got that picture. I mean, the picture of the system is also, if you purchase the course, you know, etc., that comes, like, there's a big poster. But, you know, I don't want to show my face because I like to keep myself anonymous at this point in my phase of my journey. But I just want to get this out there. So they got a good model out there for reasons that they say. I don't have to repeat that. And yes, people can learn remotely. You know, everybody's gone remotely. Okay, that's the way to go. Now, can you become a master at anything without engaging in the actual environment? No, of course not. And that's not what they're trying to say. Okay, that's not what this curriculum is all about. You need live people to do the techniques. You can learn the techniques, the basics, the technicalities by watching videos. You can, and if you actually, you know, pressure test and experiment with, actually do it with somebody, you can learn how to do it. Now, can you perfect it? You know, without working with somebody that's probably better than you? Probably not. Can you be pragmatic and make it work in a self-defense scenario? Absolutely, 100%, no doubt about it. You don't have to have perfect technique to be successful in self-defense. The definition of self-defense is to be able to walk home alive, okay, walk home safe, and that may not even need the use of physical technique. It could be verbal jiu-jitsu, verbal judo, verbal de-escalation. There's a lot more efficient ways of avoiding violence that that can be used without even going physical. So I'm not even going to go into that now, but maybe hopefully I'll make some more videos as well about that. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I keep hearing this theme, and I know part of it's probably for marketing, to get that competitive advantage over the multi BJJ schools that are out there. And so what? Yeah, it is. Okay, it is, and it's true though. It's not just hypothetical. So I do look forward to all the counter responses or comments that might come from this video. Hey, bring it on, and it's all good stuff. Ciao.